Hello and welcome to another episode of Untold Chapters with Austin Macauley Publishers. In this episode we are talking to Paul Jacobson, the author of The Sofa Troll. The Sofa Troll is a lovely children's story that uncovers the mystery behind vanishing household items like TV remotes, keys and sweets. Welcome back to an episode of Untold Chapters. We're here with Paul Jacobson today, the author of the amazing children's story The Sofa Troll. Paul, thank you for being with us today. If you'd like to introduce yourself to our Untold Chapters listeners.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm Paul Jacobson, author of The Sofa Troll, which may well hold the answers to your missing keys and misplaced TV remotes.
Perfect. All right, so we're getting straight into the questions then. What inspired you to create the character of the Sofa Troll? Like, was there any specific moments that kind of inspired that storyline for you?
I'm a teacher, primary school teacher, and during COVID and lockdown, we were in school with key worker children. There was not many children in, so we sort of had two teachers to not very many children, which meant we sort of had a lot of opportunity to have a bit of fun, really, and write stories and jokes and songs. And it sort of came out of being in a group of sort of 4 and 5-year-old children and sort of having a bit of fun with them. We were talking about sort of TV remotes going missing and how or why that could possibly happen, and the character of the Sofa Troll came out of that.
Oh, that's really nice that it kind of came from children as well, because obviously, you know, it's the Sofa Troll is mischievous and like crafty and stuff, which is an element of it that I really love, and I think a lot of children will think is really fun, and it's a really creative way to kind of come up with that. So it's really fun that kind of kids were involved with making that character come to life. Were there any challenges in creating the Sofa Troll, especially because you're making such like mundane household things kind of come to life and be kind of magic and mysterious? Was that difficult, or did that kind of come easily?
Once I had the original idea, it kind of flowed. I knew I wanted to have sort of this point of jeopardy where the Sofa Troll had been happily sort of scurrying around and nabbing items and hoarding them, and then having this jeopardy moment where he is in sort of dire straits and you don't know which way it's going to go, and then a resolution. The actual story itself didn't take too long to write, but then the editing process, going sort of backwards and forwards and over again, took months. But the actual story itself flows sort of pretty naturally.
That's really nice. The Sofa Troll faces kind of this harrowing Hoover incident. What inspired you to have the Hoover as kind of the main kind of villain plot point of this?
With everything about the book, I've tried to sort of make it relatable. So the items I've said about the TV remote, I've spoken to so many children that I've spoken to and shared the story with. They say, yeah, my TV remote goes missing. So I'm sort of like, oh yeah, you must have a Sofa Troll too. Sweets going missing, grown-ups losing their keys. It's all sort of relatable to each reader. And so everyone's got a Hoover at home. So it's like another relatable thing that could happen in each reader's home. So having your grown-up sort of speaking directly to the reader with your Hoover makes it sort of real for children to sort of picture it happening in their front room. I sort of had an image of the Sofa Troll getting sucked up by the Hoover, sort of spiraling around with the sort of shocked expression on his face. And with the story, I sort of thought it lent it quite well to an escape route after being dumped in the bin, and then sort of thinking where he could go from there.
Amazing. Yeah, I think it's really nice the way that you've kind of incorporated so many elements that does kind of put you in the story, and you're like, oh, that can happen to me. Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that. And especially with things like the remote. Everyone, I feel like that's one of the conversations we have is like, where's that remote gone? So it's really nice that you've kind of brought that realistic things into fruition. So the illustrations in the book are absolutely stunning. Did you have like a clear image of what you wanted the sofa troll to look like, or was there a lot of trial and error with it?
I first of all agree with you. I love the illustrations. I met with Evie, the illustrator. She's so talented. I'm really sort of thankful that she took the project on. I sort of explained to her what I was thinking, and I had an idea in my head of what the troll might look like. The sofa troll could have certain features, but I didn't sort of have a definite image in my head. She sort of took it and ran with it. I had sort of the old school sort of toy troll with sort of bright fluffy hair in my head, but she put her take on it and made it original. And so I was really pleased with what she managed to produce. There was a sort of a little bit of going backward and forward, but she sort of hit the nail on the head pretty much every time. So I think it adds so much to the story, and yeah, it's sort of
Yeah.
it's as important as the storyline.
Yeah, yeah, I think it really does bring it to life. I think
Yeah,
it's so cute and it's just so like mischievous and quirky. I think it's so cute, and yeah, I think it's got that nod to the old kind of old-fashioned trolls. When you think of trolls, you think of the kind of wacky hair, and I think it's got a really nice nod
yeah,
to that, but it's also, you very much made it your own, and you've made it this really cute character that almost you kind of want to have in your house, and you want to have a sofa troll almost, because it
yeah.
just seems so cute and like a little member of the family almost.
I
Um,
think with the like you say, the hair that is sort of synonymous with trolls, but she's just put like little details on it, such as odd socks.
mm,
So when I've gone into schools, we had a sofa troll day at my school, and all the children came in wearing odd socks, and so that was one way that they got sort of into the story, and it was sort of great seeing them all turn up in their odd socks and sort of committing to the day.
I love that. I love that like the kids at your school are really getting involved in this and kind of having troll days. That's so sweet. Um, what messages do you want kids to take away from the sofa troll?
I think it's just, I would just say to be inspired by your surroundings, and if you know, sort of looking around and just sort of getting lost in your imagination. If there's something that first of all seems a bit plain and mundane, just sort of think, what could be happening here? If you can't spot your sofa, uh, well, hopefully you can spot your sofa. Maybe if you can't spot your TV remote, sorry, um, yeah, you might have misplaced it. But could there be something else involved? A sofa troll nabbing it, it's a lot more fun, isn't it? So
Mm.
using your imagination, getting lost in that, and just running with it, really, being creative.
Yeah, when my cousin raised my nephews, there was an element of see, you've got to clear up after yourself, otherwise your sofa troll's going to have it. So there's also,
Yeah,
I don't know if you meant to have it like this as a kind of
the moral to the
to
story.
have
Yeah,
a little tidy up and stuff like that. But
that wasn't what it wasn't what I set out to achieve. But if there's sort of positives come out of it, then that can only be a good thing. Glad to hear that a bit of tidying up's happening.
yeah, yeah, he was like, oh, you can't let him have my cars, and it was like, well, do you keep it out? You never know. So it was a really fun way for him to be like, oh, but if it does go missing, it probably is just a sofa troll. But it was a nice sort of way for her to be like, you got to tidy up. So it's interesting that wasn't an area that you were looking into, but it's fun to see that people take kind of different stories from your story, and that there is so many things that I think it can teach people, even if it's not meant to teach them in that way. That is all the questions I have for you today. And thank you for joining us today, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Untold Chapters. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you are listening on Spotify, please follow and give us a 5-star review. There will be a link in the description to get Paul Jacobson's book, The Sofa Troll.